Hello, everyone. This is Reginald Johnson. I am the host of All in the Game podcast. All in the Game podcast was designed to inspire, educate, and motivate individuals, especially around sports, letting people know that they can use sports as a medium, not only to play the sport, but to have a better life outside of sport. Right now, I have two legends from my hometown, Maurice Walker and Willie Murdaugh, also known as Bill Murdaugh. Right, what I'll do is let them introduce themselves and then we'll get on with our show. So I will let Bill go ahead and introduce Maurice and vice versa.
Okay, standing at 6'6", 6'7", long arms by way of Walker Avenue, Walker Lane, weighing in at 200 pounds. Maurice, AKA Red Walker.
Oh man, that was great. Let me cheer that on. Maurice Walker. And Maurice, I'm going to let you introduce Bill.
And now, at the number 2 guard, at 6'2", 6'3", thinking he's 6'7", plays like he's 6'8". The one with the biggest heart on the team, my man, my brother, Mr. Willie, Lil Bill, Skeeter Hop, Murdaugh.
There it is. And the crowd is going wild. Man, that's what I'm talking about, guys. Man, it's so good to see both of you. I have learned so much from both of you, not just basketball related, but life related, life lessons, life skills, how to do different things. So we'll get into that, but we're going to start off. We already did our warm-ups earlier. We did the intro. Now we're going to start our quarters. So we're going to do 4 quarters with Maurice and Bill. And if Facebook, if you have any questions, what we'll do is at the end, we'll have post game. So this is the start of the quarter. So let's play ball. So the first question is going to go to Bill. Bill, what made you decide to get involved with this game called basketball? Was it any influences in your life that helped you?
Yeah, you know what? When I was young, obviously, I knew a lot of people played in the bottom. And I used to always go watch my uncles play when I was younger. That's kind of how it all started. And, he kind of used to take me out. I used to watch, used to sit on the side because I was too young to play at the time. And I got into the game that way. But if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have been playing basketball. So he kind of started me in that direction. And I just went from there.
Yeah, great. What about you, Maurice? What made you pick up the ball and start playing?
Let me say, if I didn't start playing basketball until my 8th grade year. And if it had not been, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, if my grandfather was still living during that time, I probably wouldn't have played because he wasn't going to let me play.
Right.
And in the 8th grade, my chorus teacher, she was like, aren't you too tall to be in chorus trying to sing? Why aren't you playing basketball? That was in the 8th grade. That's when I started at the suggestion of my chorus teacher about playing basketball.
Let's shout her out. And what's that chorus teacher's name?
I can't remember. I wish I could. I cannot remember her name, but she was the one. She looked up at me when I walked in, and I had a pretty good voice too back then. But
you couldn't sing, Red.
Not a lick. Not even in the shower, Bill. Not even in the shower.
He's making
a joint course.
So tell me about playing in the bottom and in the hole, because when you came in the bottom, you had to bring your A game at all times, or like you said, you weren't going to play, because a lot of times I wanted to play and then my ball get kicked over the fence because y'all was playing full court and I was trying to shoot a layup, and next thing I know, I got to get my ball from somebody's yard. So what was it like playing in that neighborhood?
You know what? For me, Red, you know what? It's the same thing happened to me. I used to go out there too. So what we did to you, they did to me too. The older guys, my Uncle Jimmy was one, he used to always be there. Guys named T-Rat, P-Funk, a lot of guys that I could think of. Mike Scott. Seth Owens. That's just a few. Scotty. Like I can tell, there's a lot of guys. When I grew up there, that was really good basketball players, and I used to always come out. But I was just young, and I wanted to play with the older guys. So a lot of time I'll be shooting, and the first thing they do, they go ahead and start picking their teams. I always, you always have to get down. I said, I got next.
Yeah.
And everybody looked at me like, no, you ain't got next, little Bill. And they take my ball, kick it all down the other end of the field. So, and the only time I really got in, like I said, is when my uncle came. When my Uncle Jim used to come, then I used to get to play. The guys wouldn't mess with me too much. But it was tough. It was a lot of ballers, man. There was a lot of great basketball players that I looked up to. Yeah, a lot of guys.
Yeah, you're definitely right. There's a lot of talent came through that neighborhood.
Yes.
13 Nick Street, they came through it. What about you, Maurice? How was it like being in that park playing against some of the guys that Bill mentioned earlier? And they weren't going to let you up either. They were going to play you hard, and then if they fouled you, you can't call a foul. You call too many fouls, you're not getting picked up the next game.
That's right.
Because you're soft. So how was it like playing with those guys?
When I finally got the chance, I grew up on Small Lane, which is right around the corner from Nick Street. We couldn't leave off the street. We couldn't come to the top of. We could not come to the top of Small Lane. So the bottom to us was like a foreign land. My uncle lived around there by you, Uncle Lewis.
Yeah.
We could not go around there. But it wasn't until after I started playing, even in middle school. Even when we played middle school ball, couldn't go around there. So high school, when I started gradually going around there, sneaking to go around there, it was like what you guys experienced. They looked at us and y'all ain't getting out here on the court and playing and I always remember that feeling, being the one that was left off. Yeah. And I said, whenever I get the chance, I'm going to get the ones that was like me, that was sitting over there on the sideline, and nobody wanted to pick them up. And when we finally got on the court, you're right, man. They were like, we couldn't call a foul.
No.
No, you couldn't get no fouls. You might as well cancel that.
No, you call a foul, man. They're going to call you every name in the book.
Yeah.
So pretty much, Maurice, you was picking up the land of the misfit toys players and whipping them jokers, right? Because is that what was going on?
It was. I started doing that after me, Bill, when we had our team of young guys.
Yeah. And
when we beat them, the older guys.
Yeah.
That was it. They could not stand it. Them boys think they can do, and they couldn't beat us anymore after that.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, y'all did the same thing. Don't nobody want to pass that baton and say, you know what, them young guys, they just better than us. They can jump higher, they faster. But the old man game is different. They gonna box you down. They gonna slow the game down. They gonna take the air out the ball and go get you so frustrated you're gonna be arguing with each other, because they so fundamentally sound. That's one good thing about being in that neighborhood. You get to learn, everybody got a different game like karate. So you get to learn everybody's styles at one time and perfect your own style.
Mm-hmm.
So with that question, Bill, whose style did you follow the most being in the park? Or
you know what? It was a couple guys. I like Egghead game. Egghead was pretty good. Avery Johnson, a guy named Samuel Thomas, John Moore was another very, very good player. So it was a lot of, you would say small forwards, but they were like 6'5", maybe 6'6". And I could pattern my game after a lot of them guys.
Yeah. What about you, Maurice?
Sarge was probably the tallest one out of them, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah.
He was taller than Samuel Thomas, I think. I'm sure he was.
I don't know if you remember, he was from Barnville. Bruce Brown. They call him Downtown Bruce Brown.
Yep. Yeah.
He played with Avery Thompson.
Yeah.
Bruce Brown had a game like George Gervin, Iceman Gervin.
Oh, he was smooth.
He was a silky smooth player that loved using the backboard.
Yeah.
And the first time now I saw Mike Scott, they call him Big Mike.
Yep.
Seeing Mike out there on the court and his size, that size didn't make the way he got up and down the court. It was so much talent that came through Wade Hampton, so much talent that came through the bottom before us. I mean, we couldn't even compare ourselves to them until we got in high school. And when we got there in high school, I got cut off the JV team. Jay Welch cut me off the team.
What? No, man. You had to be one of the tallest in the school.
I was the first one cut.
So his name wasn't on that board in the back when he had to go go check.
Oh, that's the worst, man. So
when Coach Strother saw it, he went straight to him too. How you gonna cut the tallest kid in the school? How you gonna cut him off the team? and Coach put me on varsity.
Yeah,
I couldn't walk and chew gum when I was on varsity.
Nah, but see that's a lesson for somebody, Maurice, man. You get cut from somewhere you should be to get taken somewhere you probably shouldn't have been. But I'm pretty sure that helped elevate you in life. And a lot of times people, they'll lose out on a small blessing and be upset about it, but they're only going to get a bigger blessing in the long run. So that's a good testament in itself, man, that somebody is always, if you have what it takes, the right attitude, someone is always going to help elevate you. So that's a great lesson, man. What was it like, man, when you used to, because I know they did it with us, your name would be on that paper that you made the team. That was like, oh man, your heart beat.
Oh, goodness.
It'd be like right here, like, I don't see my name, man.
Hey, you know what though, Reg? That started way back at Hampton Elementary. When we first tried out, Mr. Humans was our coach. And you know, you go to have these practices and everybody try out. And then after practice, you go and look, and you have your name on there if you made it or you didn't make it. I don't know if Red, do you remember those things? Do you remember that? Is Maurice on there?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you remember in Hampton Elementary looking on the board to see if your name was in there when you come in that hallway at the National Guard Armory?
Mr. Humans was the coach, and wasn't John Mays the assistant coach?
Yes, he was.
That was because you see your name, but you may not see one of your friends' names. So you're happy and you're like, oh man, you didn't make it, man. But then something's gonna happen where somebody didn't get their grades or they shouldn't have. So they're gonna fail off the team, and then the other person can kind of come up if that happens. So it's so many lessons.
Yeah, and with me, since that was my first time getting involved with organized basketball, my attitude was like, well, if I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. It was my first time getting involved. And I think, didn't we win the championship that year?
Yes, we did.
Okay. So y'all won one, we won one also. So because we just did the conference, like North District, Brunson, and Yamasee, Fennell, really. And play at Wade Hampton. And that's when you're in 8th grade, man, you play at Wade Hampton. It's like, you think you're at the Carolina Coliseum almost, man. Did y'all play at Wade Hampton also in 8th grade?
No. Back then we just played at the elementary schools. Our one rival was North District. Yeah, that was our one rival, the Wolverines.
Seth Thorne is the coach, right? He would never let you live it down. Yep. Because if you could beat North District, you can beat anybody. Because they was well coached, they was physical, they can play. Who was y'all coach?
Philip Humans.
Philip Humans.
Okay, Mr. Humans. Okay, got it.
Because back then it was different. Yeah, we just kind of went to different elementary schools and we'd play. And usually you just have it wherever the championship game would be, where whoever the team was in first place, kind of, right? So it wasn't like one place designated. And even back then, like if you didn't make the team, the only place you could go to get better was at the park. Yeah. So there was no other avenues to play back when we were younger, when we were in the 7th and 8th grade. Like you had to make yourself by playing at the park. That was the only place you could play. And if you go try out and you get cut, back at the park, work on your game, and then maybe, try again for next year. So it was different back then. There was no other basketball to be played.
No, and like that's a good thing you mentioned, Bill. if you did get cut and you went back home to that park, those older guys would take offense to it. Like, dude, why you not playing? Why you not on the team? Oh, and they'll make it sure that you wasn't gonna get cut next year.
Yes, sir. I don't know if Maurice remember the combination of the Smith brothers. You remember Scotty, Jody, Huckleberry?
Yeah.
Those guys were very, very good. I remember them. I think those are the guys that we really wanted to beat. Seth Owens and Avery Thompson.
Yeah.
Because I think they used to beat up on us so much. It was just, I used to get tired of it. I couldn't wait till I got a little older so we could be able to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
We lost many, many games at the park to those guys, man. They were so tough.
Yeah, and it's interesting now because when I go to the park now, I see grass growing on the court a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Which means people are not playing like they once was. Because, on Sundays, man, if you're not at the park playing, like I used to hear y'all in the house arguing about a foul. That ain't no foul. That is a foul. Like, it wasn't a foul. They still playing. Like, and if I didn't go out there early, like 12 o'clock in the daytime to play, prime time between 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, between 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock.
Yes.
You weren't playing out there. You just might as well, do something else. So how are y'all able to transition from being park legends, playing in the park, to going playing in high school? Because a lot of people can't make that transition. It's tough for them. What was it different about both of you guys? And I'll let you go, Bill.
Well, for me, I think it was because, like you said, a lot of them can't make that transition from street ball to organized basketball. But I think for me, my Uncle Jimmy kind of helped me transition to be able to play like organized basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the game too. So I was always trying to learn when I was younger. Like I always looked up to the guys, and I always wanted to have information. I always wanted them to share information with me. So my uncle used to talk to me a lot. He and I would just talk, and he'd tell me things that I need to do and things you need to work on, little Bill, that type of stuff. So by the time I got to the 9th grade, I was pretty much ready for the organized ball.
Right. What about you, Maurice?
Late bloomer. When I got to high school and got cut off JV, and Coach Charlotte put me on varsity, and Scotty Smith, Marvin Fennell, Ronald Williams, and Kenny Green.
Yep.
They took me under their wings like a little brother. It wasn't easy in practice now. It was, when I say took me under their wing, they was teaching me the game of basketball. They was teaching me, basically they became like big brothers, but also like father figures.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the guys I hung out with in high school, I thought about this a couple of months ago, all of us came out of a single parent home.
Yeah, so how was that, being able to kind of, first of all, you play sports, so you got to be coachable, but you got to be willing to learn and be mentored also. Because how was it like? Were you just willing to be mentored, or you didn't know it, or you just wanted to be around some other brothers who had your best interests in mind and you had something in common with?
The interest for basketball in the 9th grade wasn't there for me.
Yeah.
It was, I'm on varsity, and the more I was around them, and the more they would push us. And one day we had to shoot free throws. Coach said we're going to shoot 50 free throws. Each free throw you missed, you got to run one free throw. You got to run 5 laps. I had to run 150. Ronald had to run 155. And he had Carlton sitting in the stand counting each lap, and you couldn't cut corners. And through all of that and those practices and going hard in practice and riding home with them, they made sure I got home.
Yeah,
they picked me up. That was my freshman year, and then and Smurf was on the team. And my sophomore year, it was like Smurf and Alex Murdaugh. Was in that role. And I think we wanted to learn.
Yeah,
It
that's
got
key.
to a point to where how the older guys in the park would let us call a foul. It got to a point, if you played on our team, you wasn't calling the foul if you was on our team. You had to man up. You weren't gonna, no, you ain't calling no foul. That's just how it was. And that made us better. That made us competitive. And when we got this thing, we asked Coach, who was the last state championship team, and he said 81. We told Coach Strawley we're gonna be the next team that was gonna win it.
Yeah.
And we meant that. And we put the work in. We were open to mentoring from Mike Scott, Seth Owens, all of the older guys. We was open and wanted to learn in order for us to get better.
Yeah. What about you, Bill?
But we also, you know what? We work together a lot too. Like I said, I remember the many times where we used to break into Rodney Cars's gym to go work on the machine called a Kangaroo. It was me. It started out with me, Maurice, Leroy Terry, Adonis. Who else was with us, Red? Do you remember who else was with us when we started?
For a minute, it was just us.
Yeah, it was just us, and we should just go into Rodney Carsey gym because the front of the building, they had a window that was open, so we used to go in there, go break inside, and go inside and get on this machine called a Kangaroo they had in there, old machine, old jumping machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we used to go in there like a couple of us as a team, and just, you know, everybody wanted to be able to dunk, especially me and Leroy Terry for sure. So we used to go in there, man, by ourselves and just train and just, you know, just practice and train, even though the lights was off. And then we go in there and try to touch the rim, you know, see who can get highest. And we getting any higher? Is it working? Is it working? So I remember us doing a lot of things like that together. And it just made a bond between us and the players. Like we had a cohesive bond. As we continue to play out throughout high school.
Yeah. Well, that includes our first quarter. So we'll give you all a break, and next up, we're going to talk about the second quarter, and that's going to be high school up until college. So y'all ready for these questions?
Yes, sir.
Second quarter. Anybody in substitutions? Y'all need any subs? You kind of a little old, Bill. You need a sub?
You know, I'm 51. I'm
Okay.
always.
All right, let's get ready to start the second quarter then.